Mic check, mic check. Yo, what's going on, guys? Welcome back to another episode of Rapid Fire PA. This is episode number 2. It's your host, it's your boy, JMK, aka Fresh Prince of Healthcare, back at it again with another Rapid Fire episode. So it seemed like you guys enjoyed the first one. You guys liked the kind of answering all these quick questions in a timely manner, but also going a little bit deeper as well, as opposed to like a comment or like an Instagram DM. So I hope to continue this. Hopefully you guys are enjoying this. I do want to get future guests on, once all the social distancing guidelines are lifted. I hope to have some cool guests for you guys on here. Don't forget, you can actually listen to this podcast or this audio on Spotify. So if you just look up James Kim or Rapid Fire PA on Spotify, you should be able to find me. I'm probably lower on the list because my podcast or this audio segment is new. And I only have one episode so far uploaded, but this will be the second one uploaded. So go on Spotify, look it up, subscribe, follow. And if you're listening on YouTube, please like the video. Again, it helps show your support. It shows me that you guys are actually taking the time to listen and, you guys want me to continue doing this. Sit back, relax. If you're driving, eyes on the road. If you're at home, studying, taking a studying break, or just chilling, just relax and let's go into some of these questions. So the first question is, what's the knowledge gap between PAs and physicians? Is there an increase in trust and cases correlated or no change in the role of a PA? So does the role of a PA change throughout the years or is it about the same? In terms of knowledge gap between PA and physician, I would say obviously because physicians have that 3-year or however long residency, they have that much more experience coming out fresh out of residency as opposed to a new grad PA. A new grad PA obviously has one year of didactic and then a year or year and a half of clinical rotations. Med students obviously have 2 years of didactic and 2 years of clinical rotations before they start residency. But it is a lot faster pace for PAs, and we really focus kind of on the high yield things. In terms of the depth of knowledge, I would say physicians have a little bit better understanding for sure. But that's not to say that all physicians have, more knowledge or a better understanding of things, because it really just depends on each individual. There are a lot of PAs that have been, working for long periods of time that are very experienced, knowledgeable. Obviously, with experience working in the field, you gain knowledge, you gain that sense of understanding and comprehension. And that's different from being in the classroom. I would say there is a knowledge gap between PAs and physicians. I would say physicians, obviously because they have that residency, they have to do the STEP, all their boards. PAs, we generally have just one board exam. I know there's multiple for MD and DO boards. Yeah, I would say physicians do have greater depth of knowledge. Again, but it also depends on the individual. There are a lot of really smart PAs and nurse practitioners out there that I would really, trust my family and trust my care with. Does the role of a PA change with increase in trust in cases, or is the role of a PA generally the same? So it really depends on the clinic and really what type of responsibilities and things that the PA has in their job description or in the clinic. So in terms of like surgery, I know a lot of ortho PAs, they help close or they pretty much close most of the cases if they've gained that trust from their orthopedic surgeon. Generally, they're doing case after case, and the orthopedic surgeon is getting ready for the next case even before the PA finishes closing previous case. Things like that, as well as seeing complexity of cases. It does depend on the trust and the relationship between the collaborating physician and the PA. It really is clinic-based and subjective to the work environment that you're in. It's hard to generalize because every clinic and PA and supervising physician relationship is different. So again, it's going to just depend on the trust of your supervising physician, the different types of cases you see, and the roles and responsibilities that you're kind of working towards as a PA. Thank you guys again for submitting your questions, whether through the comments or through Instagram. Please go ahead and subscribe or follow on Spotify if you haven't already joined the family. I do really appreciate all your guys' support. And it's been really fun getting back into posting on social media and, uploading content for you guys. So I'm really excited for the future and all the different things that we can really present upon. The next question is, regrets not pursuing medical school. This is something that I pretty much get asked almost every day or at least every week about students who are stuck between PA versus MD or DO. So I have that video on my channel, why I chose PA over MD, DO. And that was pretty much my breakout video in terms of social media. And it really helped me to build a following, a pre-PA following, because I feel like I covered most of the points why anyone would choose PA over MD/DO. Both routes are absolutely amazing. I have the utmost respect for physicians. The physicians I work with at my clinic, they work so damn hard. They're so knowledgeable. They're so helpful. They're always willing to help too, even though they're super busy. And they always take the time to teach and help us understand if we have any questions. I honestly, and a lot of my best friends are actually in medical school en route to be physicians. And I have friends that are starting residency, all that stuff. You really sacrifice a lot. You really put in so much work. And I'm not saying you don't for PA as well, but there's just that little bit of increased sacrifice, I think, when you pursue the physician route and become a doctor of medicine. Respect with a K to everyone pursuing their dream or their goal to become a physician. I honestly applaud you guys. Do I have any regrets not pursuing medical school? Right now, at this moment, no. If you were to ask me 10, 20 years from now, 30 years from now, when I'm really experienced, maybe there might be a little bit more regret, because I am young, I just started my career, and I'm so happy to be working. If I applied the same cycle to medical school, I would be just finishing up my third year, so I'd be a third year. And for the PA route, I've been practicing for 6 months as a PA. So that's kind of a cool way to look at it. But right now, I have no regrets. I love the path I've chosen. I love my relationship with my supervising physician. I love my clinic that I work at. I like the work-life balance because honestly, I feel like I do have that work-life balance. I work 8 to 5 generally. For my schedule, I do see patients in the morning and I do tasking and admin stuff and referrals, results, all that stuff in the afternoon. So I generally do get out by 5, 5:30, latest like 6, 6:30 if I'm really behind or busy. A lot of the physicians in my clinic, they stay till 6:30, 7, even later to finish their notes. I'm very, very happy with the work-life balance that has come with being a PA. I've officially been working for 5 months. I have no regrets at the moment, and I'm really, really happy with my choice. And again, I'm very lucky and thankful to be at a great clinic that's very supportive of new grads and helping me just be the best clinician I can be and providing me with a great environment to succeed. But again, in terms of regrets for medical school, I think once a PA has worked 15, 20, 25 years, and when you ask that same question, I'm sure the answer is different. Sometimes I peruse the physician assistant Facebook group and there was a comment or a question regarding pursuing medical school after being a PA. And there's this soon-to-be physician, or he's finishing up residency, or he's in the middle of residency. He was a PA, and this is kind of his response. So he liked the 2 years of training, then getting to work as a PA. He was a medic, and he liked the idea of working with a physician in a collaborative way. And switching specialty wasn't as big of a deal for him, but he did like being able to get per diem jobs in something else. So that flexibility to work in different specialties as a PA. And this was his reasoning for pursuing med school after becoming a PA. So he switched to medical school because there was a lot of whys that he wanted answered. He really enjoyed the idea of doing a residency. So by doing a specific residency, you really dive into a specific niche. Obviously you're specializing in one field, but you really get that high level of education and experience and exposure to one specific field. He also wanted to work on some larger projects that required an MD degree, and he wanted to be that person. He wanted to be the surgeon. He said he'll be done in his 40s when he's finished with his residency. But again, it's all about what's important to you. Do you want to be the head surgeon? Do you want to be the one running the show? There's so many pros and cons to both. What if I regret choosing PA over MD/DO? Then I always tell him, pursue medical school. Pursue medical school is always my answer. I always say, if you feel very strongly about it or feel like you'll have strong regrets, pursue medical school. I am very pro PA, but I also am very pro MD/DO and pro NP. I support all healthcare providers. I never force anyone to choose the PA route. If they feel like they're going to have pretty strong regrets about not applying to medical school, I say apply to medical school. Go become a really great physician and live life without regrets. Even then, I mention that to folks and then they say, but what if I have regrets of not choosing PA school? And that's where you gotta really weigh out the pros and cons of each and write things down. Make a list. What would make you happy by pursuing this route or the other route? Lay it all out on the table and figure out what you want with your life. There's nothing wrong with going to medical school or applying to medical school. There's absolutely nothing wrong with applying to PA school or choosing the PA school route. So that's my answer and my advice for anyone that might have regrets not pursuing medical school. I don't know if I'm saying his or her name correctly. Sherwood Geel on Instagram asks, what's my favorite Nespresso pod flavor? I've really enjoyed the Cafe de Cuba. One of my followers actually recommended it and I love it. It's very strong and it has a really great taste to it. I like adding creamer to my coffee because I do like it a little sweeter. I don't know if I'm gonna get crucified for saying I add creamer to my Nespresso coffee pods, but I do really like it. And I froth it. I get to have a little frothing machine or whatever that does, and it tastes so good. And I do really like the Cafe de Cuba flavor. It's amazing. Angie here 94 on Instagram also asks, what are some values you live by? I, again, try to live my life without regrets. I really think that we have this one life on earth, so why not make the most of it? I'm not saying go out and, be reckless, but have fun. Don't forget to take time to enjoy the moment. Obviously, have some big ass goals you want to achieve and have some goals that scare you, but also are attainable. You want to, live a life where the journey is just as important and just as impactful as the actual destination or the end goal. I'm 28. I feel pretty young. Obviously, I just started my career, but I want to really pursue a lot of different things and do as much as I can to leave a lasting positive impact on the world with my YouTube channel, with my social media, and just being a PA, healthcare provider. I'm able to do that with my patients and anyone that takes the time to listen or take in the content. So some of the values I live by is really treat everyone with respect. I am a huge proponent or huge advocate of being around people, being close with people that treat everyone nicely. So even people you don't know or strangers or people that you see on the side of the street or, you run into at the bar or whatever, I'm all about spreading that positivity and being a good person. Even when no one's looking and even when no one's there to observe, be the same person you are in public or on camera and in person. And treat strangers with the same kindness you treat your family. And like I mentioned, I do feel young, but life is short, so live life to the fullest. Have a positive outlook on life and be as happy as you can be with the right circumstances. Obviously, not every moment in life is happy. There's a lot of down and sad moments, and it's okay to feel down and sad and cry. Your perspective really shapes your whole life. And if you're constantly thinking about the negative, constantly thinking, why is this happening to me? Why me? It's just me. All these things, negative thoughts, your life is going to definitely seem more negative than it is. But if you constantly focus on the positive, you're really going to have a better outlook and you're going to be smiling more. People are going to want to be around you and you're just going to be a bright light to people that need it. So those are just the few values that I live by. There's obviously way more, but those are something that I like to share and hopefully you guys can implement in your own lives as well. How long did I take to write or edit my personal statement during applications? So for me, I took about a month, I believe, to start my rough drafts, do revisions, do a lot of revisions, get it looked at by my close friends, a few PAs, and then I also used the editing service by PA Trek, which I highly recommend. They did a really great job. It was a little bit pricey. I actually can't remember the exact price I paid. I think it was a couple $100s, to be honest. But I think I got like 3 reviews. I had one PA that did multiple revisions for me. And then I also had like the person was like an English editor or something along those lines, look at it after we finished the final draft or got close to the final draft so she could polish up any kind of grammatical structure type things. So content-wise, I feel like it was really helpful. But also, I want to shout out one of the PAs that I shout out. He was an ortho PA, but I think he was a history major. PA James down in San Diego. I don't know if he's taking students anymore, but he was very influential in helping me get into PA school. Not only the shadowing, but he helped edit my personal statement. He wrote me a letter of recommendation. His name was James as well, but just want to thank him so much for all that he's done. And I don't think he's listening, but yeah, I just want to say thank you, PA James. You really You really helped me and get to where I am today. And it was all based off of me just kind of cold emailing and emailing all the PAs in the college directory. And you just happened to respond and let me shadow you and build that relationship. So thank you. I took about a month. So I had about like 3 or 4 or 5 rough drafts. And then I started kind of piecing my content together, my experiences together. So there's no real timetable for how long you should take to write your personal statement. I always recommend to have a strong opener. I know, as cliche as that is, you want to have something that draws the reader in. It doesn't have to be a life-changing moment, but it could even just be very detailed, descriptive writing of a scene that was somewhat impactful in your life. Once you draw the reader in, really talk about those experiences that shaped your decision to choose PA and discuss those experiences that really shaped your skills and your character and how you'll be a great future PA and why these experiences were impactful to you. Have a focus, whether that focus is like working with the underserved or even a passion of yours outside of medicine that correlates and can kind of be used as something that ties everything together. That's always fun to, read when people have passions and they connect it with the experiences that they gain to pursue PA. So that's always a fun thing to read. Overall, there's no timetable. I do recommend work on it for a few drafts. Have someone close to you look over it, have a PA look over it, as well as like a personal statement editing service like PA Trek look over it, because there's not a lot of things I would recommend you paying for in the application process. Paying for a personal statement editing service I think is recommended and something that I advocate for. What's the best advice for re-applicants? Should I mention in my personal statement or just experiences? This is also a great question. So personally, I was not a re-applicant. I only applied to PA school once, but I do get a lot of these questions. It's totally normal and totally okay to be a re-applicant. There's so many re-applicants, and it's totally okay to be a re-applicant. And you should never think of yourself less because you are a re-applicant or it takes you a little bit longer to get into PA school, because everyone's path is different. This advice I'm going to give you as a re-applicant is just my own personal advice. I get questions about, should I change my personal statement from the year prior? And my answer is always yes. Do not submit the same personal statement. It's okay to talk about the same type of experiences, but make sure you change it up a little bit. Don't submit word for word, verbatim, the same personal statement that you didn't get in with the year before. They're going to want to know, what did you do during that year from last cycle to this cycle? Including that in your personal statement. If something was very meaningful that you did, definitely include that in your personal statement. If not, I would say really, again, just focus on your most impactful experiences or experiences that really, shed light on who you are as an applicant. And then definitely talk about the different things you did during your year between cycles and your experiences. So it's a give or take. Again, there's no one right, correct answer. Some people might say don't mention anything about the reapplication year, or people say you have to mention it in your personal statement. I would personally recommend, if there was a really impactful or significant experience between last cycle and this one that you had or experienced, then include it in your personal statement. But if you didn't really do much else besides like gain more patient care, even then, that's pretty impactful too. You're getting more experience in the healthcare field. So might be something you mention, but you can't really go wrong with either. Just make sure what you talk about in your personal statement is something you're very passionate about. And if you just kind of did whatever or just like retook a few classes, I don't know if I would really mention that in the personal statement. I would just, again, focus on your most significant and really strong experiences that help define you as a pre-PA. How to approach professors or providers or mentors for letters of recommendations. The CASPA cycle opens around the end of April. I always recommend to ask around 2 to 3 months in advance at the minimum. If you want to ask like in January before the cycle starts, that's a good time, so that you give your writer some time to write a strong letter of recommendations. They're not easy to write. Most of them are healthcare providers or professors, and they're busy, so give them time and be patient with them. Nothing wrong with checking in with them and seeing kind of where their status is and how they started and sending little reminders, things like that. In terms of who to ask, I always recommend to ask professors, mentors, supervisors, PAs, NPs, physicians that will be able to write you a strong letter of recommendation. When I say that, it makes it a lot easier, because if you're confident they're going to write you a strong letter of recommendation, you probably have some type of relationship with them. So just asking for that letter of recommendation won't be so weird or awkward for you because you have that sense of they will be able to write me a strong letter because I've formed some type of relationship with them. And so people always ask me, what about a professor that I've never talked to? And if that's something that you need to do, or that's like a last resort, by all means. But I really recommend people that you've built some type of relationship with, that have seen your growth in academics, healthcare, working in collaboration, volunteering, things like that. That'll really play a big factor in making your application stronger, and have the admissions panel read their letter of recommendation and really think, wow, this person really advocates for this applicant and they seem to know them very well. So again, ask people that will write you a strong letter of recommendation. It doesn't matter what title they have. If you're stuck between an MD and a nurse practitioner for PA school, choose who's going to write the stronger letter of recommendation. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this episode 2 of Rapid Fire PA. Again, please like the video if you haven't already, and please like the audio podcast if you haven't already. Thank you guys again for all your amazing support. Don't forget to be like my blood type, be positive. I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.